Was the worst year for a lot of us for our mental as well as physical health. So joining us this morning is best-selling author, coach, and fitness expert, Lisa Goldenthal.
Hello and welcome. I'm Lisa G, your host. You're at the top of your game, yet the game is changing faster than ever. Strategies that got you here aren't the ones that'll keep you here. The pressure is relentless, and the fear of obsolescence looms large. That's why I'm here. Welcome to the new podcast series, Disrupted: How to Be Gritty and Unlock Performance. This is your chance where I sit down with today's tops in business, mindset, wellness, and success to help you master disruption and thrive.
Thanks for coming, and I'll see you soon.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited today. We have a director and co-founder of Risk Management Advisors. He's a career specialist in the design, implementation, and management of alternative risk management, ARM, and strategies including self-insurance plans, captive insurance companies. He has a diverse insurance background, which allows him to deliver technical insurance solutions to clients in a wide variety of industries, including construction, real estate, staffing, manufacturing, trucking, and financing. Welcome to the podcast, Jarid Beck.
Lisa, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so glad we finally got this on the calendar. I really like the way that you can lower costs while simultaneously improving medical benefits to employees. So can you break that down in a way that corporations and employees can understand what you do?
Yeah, you bet. And it starts with our overriding philosophy, which is taking a company's insurance program and turning it into a profit center, or as my partner likes to say, turning risk into wealth. And the tool we use to do that is something called a captive insurance company. And so what a captive is at its most simple level, it's an insurance company that a business sets up to insure their own risks. And so the throughput there, the philosophy is, instead of just paying premiums year after year to the carrier, not knowing why you pay what you pay and not getting much in return, you set up your own insurance company, pay the premium over, and then you can go out and buy what's called reinsurance, which is insurance for insurance companies, and that protects you from the catastrophic risks or anything, the random occurrences that do happen. But then ultimately, you're keeping that underwriting profit for yourself. It's a tool that we discovered back in 2002. We were financial planners back then, so just retirement plans, defined benefit pensions, employee benefits, whatever the case may be. And we discovered this strategy, and it was so unique that we decided to focus our business around it. And it's been a great strategy.
I love it. This sounds like a great strategy. So your clients are corporations?
Correct. Yeah. So like so many things, it started, the solution of the strategy started at the highest markets, publicly traded companies, Fortune 500 companies. But then, over time, things trickle down. And so our sweet spot tends to be more middle market companies. So privately held family businesses, got a lot of second, third generation, companies that we work with. So more of the closely held entrepreneurial type companies. You said it great in the intro. It's, it can really work for any industry. Manufacturing, construction, staffing, property owners, real estate, but it's really people within those industries that one are of a certain size. It's not for smaller companies necessarily, but of a certain size. But then also doing it better than their competitors. Right? They're running a good company, profitable. And then, they also have good safety programs. They're not paying out a ton in losses. And then so that makes them good candidates. They're looking for a better strategy. They meet us and we make the magic happen.
Well, I really wanted to talk to you about this because we're living in such disruptive times. This whole series is really about how do we thrive in disruption. So by managing risk, I really think that you can help understand the challenges that today's employers are facing when it comes to staff insurance. So do you want to break that down a little bit for the audience?
Yeah, you were smart to touch on that key insurance coverage it's so important, right? The medical insurance that companies provide to their employees. There's nothing more personal, perhaps aside from the actual paycheck that a company provides to their employees. But if you look at the inflation curve on that, it's a hockey stick trajectory of increases year after year after year, to the point where it's really gotten unsustainable. I
Right.
mean, even for a growing company, if your benefit costs are going up 10, 12, we've even seen some crazy renewals, 30 and 40% increases for some of these companies.
Oh,
It's, it's a killer for the bottom line. So that's become a huge focus area, is that particular coverage. And the beauty of the captive, and using that strategy, is it really, kind of breaks open the black box, of healthcare, and it gives you the opportunity to just get rid of all the waste in the system. There's so much, if you just, even think about, I'm sure you go to the doctor, you get a blood test. You're like, oh, I'm not feeling great. Oh, you got to go see a specialist. They send you to the specialist. Well, better run some new blood, let's do some new labs over here. And then, heaven forbid, you need a surgery or something. Okay, well, again, another x-ray, another set of labs. So, just the ecosystem itself is incredibly wasteful. And then, just everything that goes on between, if you think about a business, what other aspect of a business would a business owner be paying so much and then really have no say or control over, the amount being paid? If you're delegating it to the insurance company and the hospital, to figure out what you as the employer is going to pay, and it's really just it's not a good way of doing business. So our model is to, break that apart, pull out all the waste, and then, still provide. And then the nice thing is, once you do that, now you've got savings and you can
oh,
reinvest. That's where I, talk about reinvesting in your employees instead of cutting benefits, higher copays or higher deductibles. You can actually lower them. You can make it better for the employees. And so it ends up becoming a win-win for everybody. So I think with some of these things, I mean, like it or not, if you're of a certain size, you're in the insurance business, like it or not. So if
right.
you're gonna, if you're gonna delegate it to, I also say, look at it this way. Take a CFO. If your CFO, you delegated a budget item to them, and if that cost went up 10% every year, you'd probably go find a new CFO. Wait,
Or your
right?
carrier, like whoever is like,
Yeah, and then so that's the analogy is, companies continue to delegate to these carriers and these hospitals, and costs continue to go up, but people just keep doing the same thing. But we try to educate people. It doesn't have to be that way. So there are ways to save, and again, put money back in your pocket and be able to reinvest, in your employees.
well, who wouldn't want to save money and reinvest in the employees and lower the cost because it is so cost prohibitive, and the healthcare system is definitely broken. Like you, like the even if you have a broken leg, you have to go see your primary care physician so she can then order an x-ray, and then you can wait a month and see if it gets better before you can go to an orthopedic surgeon. So I really think that it is time to shake things up. And how does this work in layman terms of how these companies can save money on this overwhelming prohibitive cost of healthcare?
So there's two aspects. So one, on the front end, let's talk about that. So we've both kind of outlined sort of the wasteful circles that people run in. So one thing we like to do is put what I call a concierge, or, white, think of like white glove service. You walk into a nice hotel, you're catered to, right? So I like to install that on the front of a health plan. And then when someone has an episode of care, they've got someone who knows the industry to help them navigate through, setting the appointments, not getting, whipped around on wasteful incidences with, doctors' offices and things like that, and really kind of help them navigate, their course of care. It's amazing from a satisfaction perspective on the employee side, and then you're again eliminating some of that waste. The other aspect of it comes, that's sort of the inefficiency of healthcare. On the back end, sometimes there's just outright negligence or even fraud.
Yeah.
If you look at, if you go and examine hospital bills, and there's people that like doing this, they're very important. It's not me, but but if you go and examine a hospital bill, often there's double billings, so they'll bill twice for the same service, even though they only did it once, or
Right.
they'll just bill for services that were never rendered, right? And so when you've got your own insurance company, you've got the ability to go in there and do that, or, delegate, have people do that audit work. And, you're going to save 25-30% on your hospital bills just by going in and doing correctness examinations on those charges. And honestly, if you can fix just that one piece, then I mean, that's enough to pay for, again, the savings are huge, 25-30% without breaking a sweat.
So it's helping you by forming your own insurance company through you guys, and at the same time cutting down, like, who wouldn't want to have a concierge who's going to be their point person if they have an incident and they need healthcare, rather than this broken system of going to your primary care physician and getting shuffled around when you actually have an acute need right now.
Yeah.
And at the same time, saving 20-30% on your handling this, like the fraud, like the wasted money on fraud.
Correct. Yeah, no, exactly. And historically it always sounds good, but there's an education hurdle sometimes, some people, it's easier to just, pin a check to the insurance company and not have to worry about it. Or, the old saying, the devil, right? Versus something.
Right, absolutely.
But again, with the inflationary aspect of it and how expensive it's getting, it's gotten unsustainable for a lot of employers. So that's what we do, educate them on how that works. You mentioned the primary cares. People are always worried about that. The nice thing is, it doesn't disrupt anything with people's primary care physicians, pediatricians, the doctors they're close with. Maybe again, there's some efficiencies in how they go to those appointments. We can help with that. But it's really that administrative waste on the back end is where the big savings are. So the other element, you see commercials left and right for prescription drugs, right? New drugs coming out every,
the side
and
effects sounding worse than whatever it is you have.
Yeah, and then the songs they use are so great, right? They pull songs from 30 years ago and then play it over and over and over again. But all those drug manufacturers, when prescriptions are written for those drugs, they pay rebates.
Oh yeah.
They pay rebates, but in traditional models, the carrier keeps those. And in this model, you are the carrier, so those rebates pass through to you. So that right there is another super easy way to save, just by shifting where the pharmacy the prescription drugs are filled. So there's a couple easy items right there.
Well, I love the way that you're helping lower the cost, and it's such a complicated process. So just to dumb it down one more level, is there anything else you want to share with our audience about how we can be unstoppable in healthcare and risk management with your services that you provide?
I would just say having an open mind, right? Just, we've been doing, you've been doing things a certain way, the last 20 years, this kind of healthcare framework is, maybe 20-30 years, this healthcare framework has existed. It's not working, so it's just, it doesn't have to be that way. There's solutions out there, and there's good folk, me and my peers out there that can help. And it's just having an open mind and going through the process, educating yourself, and building a better structure.
So if we have a company where we want to save this 25-30% on healthcare costs and benefit our staff and have them realize the perk of this, where can people reach out to you, Jarid Beck?
Yeah, so we have a lot of great information and ways to contact us at our website, which is riskmgmtadvisors.com. Also a lot of awesome information on our YouTube channel. And then you can find me on LinkedIn. So any of those avenues would be great.
All right, Jarid Beck. Well, thanks for being a fantastic guest on the podcast.
And thank you so much, Lisa. Appreciate it.